Today, Act 3 of our show is Jews of the Modern World, and we're going to focus on our fathers. And today, one in particular, my dad, and everything he did, for better or worse. And for those of you who don't know, my dad was a radio talk show host, and he told me my whole life, Harry, don't do this, and now look at where we are. And anyway, growing up, my father always made us go to services every Saturday. Another day where we had, I don't even remember what it's called, but anyway, every Saturday and every Thursday, he would drag us off to the temple, and we would go to services and sit through everything and learn, as he said we would, so that, someday we could know the language and chant along with the prayers. And that was all right, but I mean, when you started bringing home authentic Jewish food, well, I don't think that gefilte fish counts as authentic. For those of you that haven't seen our episode on artificial calamari, then it's basically artificial fish, but it's nowhere near even in the same quality. It's a fish food, it's not fish. And so, he was bringing home Miss Adler's gefilte fish, and Miss Adler is basically a Jewish Betty Crocker, and it was just, and whenever he wanted to punish us, well, for example, there's one day where I came home and there were burn marks on the ceiling, and I asked my mom, because my dad wasn't around then, and I said, why are those burn marks on the ceiling? And she said, your father burned the baby spiders with a lighter. And I was really mad, because now we've got big black scorch marks on the ceiling, so I went to him and I said, why did you do that? I was mad, and he just he did what he sometimes did to punish us, which we eventually picked up on. He went out, bought some gefilte fish, and he got some guaranteed value blue cheese ends. And and he came home and he served us our dinner. I think it was chicken, and then he came out and he was eating that and just slurping loudly. And that was just how he punished us sometimes, and it worked, because it was just as simple as that, and he would just come out big, and with a big pile of it, and then that was it. End of the story. The other thing he would do, he would always tell us, because he thought that someday we were going to eat gefilte fish. And he was wrong, but we still had to learn his advice about it. And he said, never eat the jelly it comes in. And we asked why, and he didn't tell us, and we just didn't know. But we always respected that piece of advice, even though we never got gefilte fish for a good reason. As I got older, and my father didn't want me to hear him curse or anything, so he would resort to these sort of... What he started with was schmendricks, you're all schmendricks, and just called me a schmendrick, and whenever he got really mad or anything, it was just trying to put his foot down, or he knew I was lying, he would say, Bolshevik, 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 Bolshevik. And my brother and I always assumed that was what he was doing while he was burning the spiders from the ceiling, and it was just, And so, you know, while all that was going on, he was getting older, and I remember when I was 12, when, you know, during the summer, those last few days, we went up to this cabin with our uncle. Our dad came up a few days later, and the first thing he said was, "I hate this forest dust." And you know what? I've been trying to figure out all my life what forest dust is, but there's no real evidence of it. It's not there. But, you know, he would say, "Oh, I hate the forest dust." And then he'd complain about the spider that we told him about, and it was just a small spider. It wasn't even in there, it was just on. And he would complain about it and complain about it. And you know, my little sister always complained if she played near the edge, near the edge of the little fork balcony, whatever you want to call it. And he would always talk about that, and he just, what he meant, I guess. And you know, he was, you know, he would always be, he would talk in that way and use the Jewish words, and just, he always acted very, I don't want to say it, but really very, 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 very Jewish. And he was just, you know, he was still our dad and everything, but, well, you know, that was my father.